All right, we finna get into a little topic today that I received a comment that asked if I would discuss what I'm looking for in a coach. So maybe I can recommend some shit like that and help you all out if you guys are considering coaching with somebody. Not necessarily me, just with anybody in general. So this is going to be from the perspective of me and what I think is important as a coach. So, number one, I would say experience. Like I mentioned in a previous video, that I would like somebody who has time and experience in the gym. You know, again, if someone, not saying somebody can't get experience in like a year, but a year of experience, I mean, you really don't know a whole lot. Now, the way that you can trump this, and this kind of leads into something else, but if you have gained results, either put on muscle mass or lost weight, if you've done either of those things or trained for, whatever, marathon, sprint, cycling, you name it. But if you're somebody that has done those things and has gotten the results without the use of performance enhancing drugs, then I do think that there's some credibility to be given just based off of what you can show that you've been able to do for yourself. I think that the best coaches are able to help out people that are most like they were at a certain point. So for example, like for me, I have a tough time with this. So fitness coaches who are like obese, I'm not saying that they don't have knowledge. I'm not saying that they don't know how to make a workout plan. But for me, it's just kind of hard to trust somebody who they're teaching me principles and techniques that they are themselves not applying. And they can be for whatever reason. I think if you're older and maybe at one point you competed in bodybuilding or whatever the fuck, and like now you're retired, I can understand that. You did put the work in at some point. You do know a little bit of what you're talking about. That's a little different. It's when I see like these younger guys that are out of shape, I'm just like, I just can't see myself getting coached, especially if my goal is weight loss, right? If my goal is weight loss, then, I mean, I don't want a fucking fat coach. I'm sorry. I don't think that's rude to say. I think that just, it makes sense. So how am I going to believe somebody who either they don't practice what they preach or what they're preaching ain't really working? So that's something that I would look out for. So I, as somebody, so I've gone through a weight loss where I lost about 100 pounds. I think that gives me a perspective. So I guess this goes into another point, but I would like a coach that kind of knows what it's like to suck or to struggle with obesity or struggle putting on mass, but somebody that gets what it's like to be a client. Because I think oftentimes as a coach, you can assume that the person you're coaching has the same or similar level of knowledge than you do, or the same amount of discipline or whatever. But like, you're basically taking somebody who's new. Everything's new to them. It's not going to be, you have to put yourself in their shoes. So if someone's like designing a workout that's too hard, I mean, that could be demotivating. I think when you're getting workouts, you want them to be sufficiently challenging, but not to where you're dying after every session. That, I think, it's too difficult of a session. Not that you can't get to that point, but at the current time, it's not really helping. Honestly, it's probably going to cause you to be too sore. You're not going to want to work out again. It's going to make you think of working out negatively because now you're thinking about the accompanying soreness or just being dying out of breath, you name it. So I also want to say, like, again, the appropriateness of the workout is important. So I want a coach that's, are you fucking kidding me? Wow, dude, this person had to go and now they're blocking both lanes of traffic because they couldn't wait. Fucking A, dude. Go figure. But I want a coach that knows what it's like to be new, knows how to do the thing that I'm trying to do. Someone that's experienced it, because that person that has gone through those transformations, they understand the pitfalls. They understand the mental traps. They understand what it's like to not be motivated to go to the gym. They understand what it's like to cheat on your diet or fuck up, you know. And they get what that's like, and that allows them to be like non-judgmental. I think ultimately people just don't want to feel judged. And when you work with somebody, like if you fuck up, if you skip a workout, it's not necessarily the most helpful thing to just kind of like to harp on it. You can acknowledge it, but like, all right, it's in the past. What could we do better moving forward? I also think that you need to you and your coach need to have chemistry. You know, it's much easier to work out with somebody that you like than to work out somebody that you just like, I don't really like this dude or girl, or there's just not, like, it just feels awkward. You know, you want someone that's kind of like your friend. I think that's like the best or ideal arrangement, is that you're working out with a friend. People would feel more comfortable that way. So if you have a coach that's providing that similar feeling, I think that it's more of a setup for success for you in the long run. So you want a coach that you get along with, that you have fun with. Ultimately, have fun with. I mean, you want to be having a good time. If you want to associate positive emotions with the gym, you need to be with somebody. Like if you're kind of a bubbly person, that's the kind of energy you like, you might not like the drill sergeant coach. You know, just not a good fit. Not everybody's going to be a good fit for one another, but you know, you go through a coach or two, or you kind of see what works best for you. But these are the things, again, that I'm considering. Another big one, and I guess I should have done some sort of logical order for this, but again, this is just on the fly. And fucking people going the wrong way down a one-way street. Nice job, dickhead. But for me, I appreciate somebody who is super big on form. So there was a friend of mine, his name is George. He was a Olympic weightlifting coach. And what I loved about George was the fact that he was such a stickler on technique. When he worked with me, I barely had any weight on the bar. I needed to practice all of these lifts and like these form techniques with no weight, because I think this is very important, because if your form is tight, locked in, you've got that fucking down, the weight is easy. You can easily go up in weight and down in weight and modify that as needed. But bad form is going to get you at any weight. And again, at a certain point, that form is going to break down, and you're going to need to make some form corrections. You know, so having somebody, it may sound or be a little bit boring in the beginning. Like, come on, I want to fucking work with weight. You know, I'm not trying to just beat my dick over here. But it's kind of like the Mr. Miyagi, like the wax on, wax off. Like, you get that form down, you are set up for success. I said in the past, when I have helped some people with workouts, and I've always said that my goal is to make it to where you don't need me anymore. Maybe that's just me because I'm somebody that likes to learn so that I could do for myself. Not everybody is like that. Some people really need that companionship aspect, in which case they might know how to do what they need to do, or they might have the technique, but they just still like having that extra person. If that's you, go for it. I like when someone is able to teach me things to where I could be self-sufficient and like I could do the work on my own. And I think because that's when real learning takes place. When you're able to go out on your own with the techniques and principles that your coach taught you, or that you learned online, have practiced. I think you're much better equipped to then take your exercises or your workouts into your own hands. You can create your own plan. You could really tailor your workouts to what suits you best, or what needs you have. I said in a previous video that I think that a good coach is going to create an individual plan. And I learned this more so from work, but having things tailored to an individual, like a workout plan, it's the best way to ensure that the person whose plan it is achieves their desired result that fits their needs. Because you're not working out to fit my needs or what I want. Like, as your coach, you and I need to be in alignment as to what you want and how I can get you there, right? If that's ultimately when you're hiring somebody, that's what you're trying to do. You're not trying to work on somebody else's goal. You're trying to work on your goals. And that training is going to look different, depending on what discipline. It could be bodybuilding, powerlifting's different, strongman training's different. Or if you're an athlete, if you like cycling, your shit's going to be a little bit different. I did jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu training and exercises is a little bit different. So like if I want help in that area, then I want my workouts to reinforce the sport that I compete in or whatnot. So some general plan that cost me $200 that I got from someone's link in bio, that it, again, is likely some fucking chat GPT plan where zero thought was put into it. I could get results with that, but they may not be the best. They may not be the most appropriate exercises for me, given what I'm wanting to do. I really am looking for somebody that will take the time to listen and understand what my goals are, and is going to best help me do that. And I would say a caveat to any of these, and I can't speak, I'm going to say for like in a bodybuilding, from a bodybuilding perspective, if you're going to compete, it is widely known that you're going to have to take some PEDs to really be competitive at the top. I think if you're the average person, right, if that's your goal, okay, then you might disregard this, but also I would still pay attention. But any coach that, as a solution to get to your goals, and as like, let's say as a regular non-competitor, and they are pointing you in the direction of any sort of like testosterone or pro-hormone, or there's a word that I'm looking for that I can't, it's not coming to my mind. What is it? Like, it's not, SARMs are another one. But basically any sort of chemical agent, peptides, that's what I was thinking of, peptides. But any sort of chemical agent, I don't think that it would cause me to question the coach, because ideally I should be able to work on these things or achieve my results, again, as a regular, everyday, just trying to get healthier, stronger, more fit. You don't need PEDs. You don't even really need protein or creatine. Now, can you supplement with creatine and protein? Absolutely. But that is, if someone is directing you towards taking these things, the training that you're doing should be really what's getting you those results. Not the addition of, if it's a SARM, yeah, it's not a steroid per se, but it's going to enhance your results, right? So you still might be training ineffectively. Now, if you're getting great results and then you did something on top of that, then that's really just, it's going to make everything better if your training is on point. But off rip, if we're already going down that road, I would question the person in front of me. And then also, I wanted to share this story because I did think about this. So another thing to be weary of is really it's these online fucking Instagram, all they talk about is fucking sales, or it's like once you've been in sales, you see all the things in these people's videos that they're doing to try to sell you. Every way they're handling an objection, how they're trying to create scarcity to have, or they're display or making something seem scarce to create like this artificial value or a time crunch to get you to act fast. These are all sales tactics. When you learn a little bit of that, you could see right through the bullshit. If they start whipping that shit out on you, then that makes me shut down. That's gonna make me wall up, and I'm just not gonna listen anymore. It's the way it is. You've lost me at that point. But I did have somebody that they reached out, and like, this kind of piggybacks off of what I said before with someone not following their own principles. So I think that this happens in like coaches for coaches, where they're going to increase your business and, give you access to all the XYZ. So you're going to make 10K a month because for some reason everything is, make 10K a month doing this, make 10. If it was that easy, then again, everybody and their mother would be fucking doing it. They're not, so clearly it's not that easy. But I had a guy talk to me, and he wanted $500 for access to this app, I believe, and this email list. The email list was like, it's for prospecting, so for finding clients. But this guy would be collecting a monthly fee for mentorship, which was really just providing me an email list and then a generic app platform to give to clients. I'm not going to waste my money doing something like that. And this was somebody like, yeah, man, bro, keep it. Never heard from me. After I said no to that I wasn't interested in that at the time. Never heard from that dude again. Funny how that works. People will be like, oh yeah, they'll dap you up, the fucking be all about you until you say no to buying their thing. Then it's like, oh, well, you can go fuck yourself. A person like that, do you think that that person was really looking out for me, or were they looking out for their wallet? I'm going to venture to say that they were looking out for their wallet, that they did not give a fuck about me. And unfortunately, through the free mass marketing that you could do online on Instagram with no credentials whatsoever, and again, maybe even no apparent results ever doing the thing that they're coaching, it's just not that believable, man. Just not believable. So, and I think honestly, you will get a sense of somebody if they're like genuinely taking the time to connect with you and get to know you and what's important to you. And yes, like, I understand coaches need to make money, and sales is a part of it. But a really good salesman does not need to sell you. The product is going to speak for itself, and the salesperson is going to know that. So I guess just keep that in mind. Personal trainers, I got my NASM certification. The whole first part of that, like chapter 1 and 2, was all sales. So these people, they are salespeople first and foremost, and what they're selling you on is training and nutrition. So, and again, I'm not saying there's no value. There's certainly value. There's great coaches out there. It's a numbers game. Not every coach is going to be that. There are some really great ones, but there's also some really shitty ones. I think ultimately, someone having integrity and congruency with the things that they're saying and the things that they're doing and the things that they're recommending, I think takes the cake. Number one, top thing to look for. Someone who's fucking real, that is not going to dick you around. Somebody that's going to tell you that, hey, that goal is a little ambitious. Like, let's make it more realistic. Your goals should be SMART goals. SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. Your goals need to have all of those components. That's what makes a good goal. It's something that can actually be measured, and it's got to be realistic given a period of time. So you need that person that's not just going to fucking fluff you up, and they're actually going to shoot straight and tell you, motherfucking Brian's here. He's here from Colorado. So, but that's what you need. You need someone that's going to be a straight shooter that you can trust, that's looking out for your best interests, and ultimately someone that you can be friends with. On that note, I'm going to see, well, that guy right there, motherfucking Brian. I'll see you next time. Remember to stay beautiful and that you are loved. I'll see you next time. Hope that helped. If you like this video, leave a like, comment, subscribe. All of you that have subscribed this far, I appreciate you following along. I know things have been kind of rocky as of late, but I'm still here. I'm not going away. So I guess you're just stuck with me. See ya.